Hello again and welcome to our 23rd video. Today we are going to use our reading projects and the topic that we are going to check is called Life in Space. Okay, we are going to start reading together. Weightless living. Drew wake up just as the sun is rising. It takes a moment to untangle from the sleeping bag in the small space. Opening the door, you grab a handle and flip yourself over. With a gentle push, you fly from one end of the room to another. Another crew member floats by, hands you some coffee and says good morning in Russian. You thank him and yawn, tired because you haven't slept much. Your stomach isn't used to the lack of gravity yet, and you're incredibly excited. You are about to begin your first day working on the International Space Station. Even simple activities are difficult without gravity. It's almost as if you have to learn them all over again. If you want to head back to Earth for another 6 months, so you may as well get started. The race to space. People began racing into space in the 50s and 60s. The first person in space was a cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin, from Russia. He orbited Earth one time and landed safely after 108 minutes on April 12 in 1961. In 1968, USA astronauts on Apollo 8 successfully orbited the Moon. On July 20th, in 1969, the crew of Apollo 11 stepped onto the Moon's surface. Space programs created vehicles that let people stay in space for days or weeks. However, scientists were building a structure in which people could actually live for months or years. Space Station. The Soviet Union launched the first space station in 1971. It spent 175 days in space. In 1973, the United States launched Skylab. It supported three missions before being abandoned in 1974. The Soviet Union launched the Mir space station in 1986. It was the first space station that lasted more than a few years. Mir remained in orbit for 15 years, 3 times longer than planned. Scientists from many different countries visit it. 438 days in space. A Russian scientist spent 138 days in space in 1999 and 1995. During his stays, he lived on Mir and orbited the Earth 7,075 times. His record still stands. And we have it there on the picture. Before Mir was abandoned, work began on a new larger space station. The United States, Russia, Japan, Canada, and other countries worked together. In 1998, the first section of International Space Station, the ISS, was launched into orbit. More sections have been added over the years, and more are planned for the future. As of 2012, the ISS was as long as a football field and weighed almost 1 million pounds. Over the years, more than 200 people from 15 countries have visited the station. Many astronauts stay on the ISS for about 3 to 6 months. Staying on the space station can be very difficult. Scientists have found ways to make it easier for astronauts to live in space. An astronaut's life. Astronauts go to school for many years before they begin training. The physical training involves beginning weightless while flying in an airplane. Astronauts also spend up to 7 hours in a spacesuit while working underwater. They work on models of space vehicles in a huge pool. Sick in space. The change to being weightless can make some people ill. Fortunately, the ISS comes with special bags. They have a cloth inside that can be used to clean up as well as an extra sealable bag attached for easy disposal. Sleeping. The ISS has 6 small sleep pods that each hold a sleeping bag with armholes. Each bag is tied to the wall to keep the astronaut from floating away. Because of the space station's orbit, astronauts on board see 16 sunrises and sunsets every day. Since people are used to sleeping at night and being awake during the day, this can cause sleep problems. The space station has a shades down period. During this time, it is dark and quiet to allow the astronauts to get the sleep they need. And here we have a picture is the astronaut Alvin Drew preparing to sleep on the ISS. And as you can see, he's tied up here around the waist. Eating. Astronauts eat many of the foods most people enjoy, such as chicken, fruits, peanut butter, and brownies. The ISS has no refrigerator, so all food has to be packed so it won't spoil. The station does have an oven, however. Some food can be eaten as is. Other foods such as spaghetti must have water added. Astronauts use liquid salt and pepper. Regular salt and pepper will float away and damage the space station equipment. Once the food is prepared, however, astronauts still have to get used to swallowing. Astronaut Pierre Sellers said it was like eating while lying on one side. And here we have some food. An astronaut has a breakfast, a breakfast of egg and sausage on a tortilla with coffee on the ISS. It doesn't look delicious. Using the toilet. Using the bathroom can be tricky. Astronauts need special training to use the toilet. The toilets on the ISS have two parts. For liquid waste, astronauts use a tube with a nozzle. For solid waste, astronauts may use foot straps and handles to stay in place. They have to tidy up. The toilet takes the waste from the opening or tube to where it is stored. And here we have an example of a restroom. The tube hanging on the wall is for a liquid waste, this one. The waste on the floor is for solid waste. The ICC has two toilets. It will be difficult. Then we have bathing and teeth cleaning. Astronauts use water and a special soap on a cloth to wash their bodies. They wash their hair with shampoo that uses no water, as we can see here on the picture. To clean their teeth, they use toothpaste that can be swallowed, then they are finished. Interesting. Free time. Astronauts on the ISS might play cards, read, write, among other things. Talking with loved ones is also important. Astronauts are able to make calls and use video chats. Sometimes astronauts answer questions from students all over the world or give videos tours of the station. Many just look out the windows or take photos. Who can blame them? The view is pretty amazing. And here we have one playing the guitar, exercising. When people exercise on Earth, their bones and muscles must work against gravity, which makes them stronger. The lack of gravity in space makes it very easy to move things. Because of this easy, astronauts' bones and muscles weaken over the time. Astronauts must exercise at least 2 hours every day, even with a daily workout. Their bones and muscles are weaker than they return to Earth. Back to Earth. When astronauts return to Earth, the work isn't over. After a 6 months stay on the ISS, it takes 6 weeks of exercise to regain their strength. It can take a whole year for an astronaut's bones to fully recover. Astronauts have to work hard, but the time spent living and working in space is worth it. Scientists always keep track of the astronauts' physical and mental health. The information they gather has already helped astronauts live healthier and happier lives. This information may mean the success or failure of future space travel. Okay, it was quite long but very interesting. So, don't worry if you don't have your reading projects at home. I'm going to send you the link. And please don't forget to do the activity related to the video. Thank you very much and see you soon.